It seems like everywhere you turn, people are talking about the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 specs. I mean, you can't go on Twitter or any social media without someone bringing up the SSD or the GPU power between the two, or how much more powerful the Series X is compared to Sony's console. And while there's a lot of people out there talking about the consoles, there's far fewer people that actually matter when they talk about them. Which brings me to the topic at hand, because while we've talked about what the tech experts talked about with the Series X being more powerful, we still like to hear from developers who actually have friends or contacts working with the systems. Not to mention, there are people that actually have worked with these systems and understand what it takes to make a great game on a great piece of hardware. So when an ex-Sony developer talks about the next generation Xbox and how it's quite staggering with how much more powerful it is, you tend to stop and pay attention, because there's a lot of talk going around right now, especially by people that don't understand game development or tech in general. So let's see what people that actually make games have to say in this article. But before we do that, like always, if you like the video, hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support is greatly appreciated. Alright, enough of that. Let's get into this article and talk about a former Sony game developer who talks about both the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. And like I said before, having someone with such experience and knowledge speak about the new systems should make you pay attention. Yet what should grab your attention even more is what he has to say about both consoles. And I know most people will think he puts down the PS5 or the Xbox, but in reality, he just talks about the differences and even compliments both of them. Here's how the article starts off. With the PlayStation 5's reveal this past week, several developers have spoken publicly about their excitement for the PS5's new SSD technology. These developers have largely been current or ex-first-party devs from Naughty Dog, Insomniac, or other studios, but their experience is still noteworthy. Another ex-Sony developer is now offering some opposite insight. Chris Grinnell, former senior game designer at Guerrilla Games and SCEE, is sharing that he's heard the power difference between the Xbox Series X and PS5 is quite staggering. Now, I know I've covered the SSD that's in the PS5, and it's something that we should all be excited about because it adds another cool element to game development that we've never seen before. But what gets me even more excited about these next generation systems is the fact we'll be playing high fidelity games on very powerful GPUs with, might I add, high frame rates because of the awesome CPUs that will be attached to the machines. And that's where the difference lies with these systems and the massive change between the two. Grinnell talks about the power difference being quite staggering because that's exactly what it is. It's not hard to realize that Xbox came into this next generation ready to fight for the power narrative to be on their side. And it's not just the power that the hardware has, it's the optimization and the back-end software working hand in hand with the hardware that makes it that much more powerful. Now, I know last generation, when both the Xbox One and the PS4 launched, the main argument was all about power and what console could play a game at 1080p and all that stuff. So of course, this coming generation is gonna start off again with a power narrative. And from what we've seen, the Xbox has taken the crown handedly. Like, it's not even close. But that doesn't mean the PS5 is a bad piece of hardware or won't have great games. Instead, it's an impressive piece of tech and something that people should equally be excited about. And that's what Chris Garnell says here. I've chatted to a few devs and they have confirmed the power difference is quite staggering. However, they said it doesn't mean you can't make good games on the PS5. These fanboys clearly don't care about that and are massively rattled. Now, I know most people think he's talking about Xbox fanboys and them being rattled about the Xbox having the power crown. But in reality, he's talking about PlayStation fans who just can't accept the fact that the PS5 is far less powerful. And instead of focusing on the games that will be on their preferred console, they want to find any little piece of hardware that's more powerful on the PS5. They will focus on the SSD and talk about the I/O throughput. It's almost a little desperate, because we all know that Sony's first-party developers are going to make some of the best games next generation. They'll have established franchises and new IPs coming out next year that will help shape the generation. All of those will be on the PS5. Just like the Series X will have brand new IPs and franchises that define the generation, along with the best looking third-party games around. Both consoles have something for everyone. That's the beauty of choice. But if you want the most powerful console around with the best looking third-party games, then you only have one choice. And the article points that out when it says this. Grinnell's comments do reflect the realities of the two consoles' hardware in a way that surprisingly few game developers have spoken publicly about. The Xbox Series X has a significant advantage in both CPU and GPU power, specs that have traditionally been used to accurately gauge graphics power. That's not to say the PS5 isn't powerful, it's clearly very much is. It just is somewhat less powerful than the Xbox Series X in some very important ways. Sony is touting its SSD technology as a major advantage, which it certainly is. However, the Xbox Series X's advantage have known tangible benefits for game visuals and design, whereas the PS5's still needs to be shown. That's as cut and dry as you can get right there. Both consoles will obviously be extremely powerful and provide great experiences, but the difference in power is clearly in the Series X's corner. Because of history and what that means, it does make the Xbox the more appealing console. Like I've said before, and like plenty of others have said before, power matters the most during a console's launch in the first 3 years. After that 2 or 3 year mark, the games are what matter the most. It's what's going to bring people to the console even more, or it's going to keep people on the console for the long term. And so far, the only company that has shown a lot of their long-term plans along with the power is Xbox. They've shown launch games for the Xbox Series X and have shown off multiple games coming to the console later next year. That's why Xbox is in such a unique place, because they've shown the most powerful console ever built, along with games that will make that console appealing. Sony needs to understand they can't stay silent about their games or their launch titles for long, because right now everyone's paying close attention to both of these consoles. Even developers are talking up the Xbox and saying it's a very powerful machine, and it's not even close when it comes to comparing the two. So with the power advantage gone by a long shot, Sony's only hope to compete is to provide the games which they've done before. Let's hope they can repeat history and Xbox could change their history in regards to games. But enough about what I think, tell me what you think about all of this. Is what the ex-Sony dev said really bad looking for the PS5? Do you believe that the power difference is that big? What can Sony do to combat this power narrative? Does power matter to you? What games does Xbox have to announce in order to change the next gen outcome? Are you excited for both consoles? Go down below and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support helps out the channel more than you know. And give me a follow on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest videos. Plus, I love interacting with everyone there, so get on Twitter and let's talk about gaming. Also, follow me on Xbox Live. My gamertag is Zalker87, just like my channel name. See what games I'm playing, and let's compete in achievements for the month. I'm still going through Doom Eternal, which I'm absolutely loving, and I'm also still playing Ori, which is a fun game on Game Pass. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.